Hello students, I welcome you all to Current Affair Lectures by Azad ICS Academy, and today we are going to study the current affairs or look into the current affairs of 5th of February. Today we do not have any important editorial, but yes, we have some of the important articles and we'll be discussing that. And the first one is related to science and technology, and when it comes to science and technology, you have a lot of confusion. What is the correct source to study? But yes, one of the correct source is the current affairs. And here we have a very important topic that we have for today, and that is scans of seemingly empty space reveal black holes not far from Earth. So there have been a lot of scans which are telling us that there is a lot of empty space, and that means there is a black hole which is going to be very close to Earth. And if Earth goes inside the black hole, all of us are going to be not there, right? So hence, there is a scan that is telling us that there is a black hole which is not that far from the Earth. Okay, so astronomers using a Giga telescope have discovered Giga BH3, a largest known stellar mass black hole in the Milky Way, providing insights into the black hole formation and evolution. So we have to understand that this is something that we have to understand. If the star orbits a black hole, it appears far from distance to be orbiting empty space. Giga projects a star orbiting on a plane in a sky, while ground-based telescopes meanwhile track how light from the star is shifted by the Doppler effect. Astronomers put these details together to interfere the masses of the star by blank space. So here we'll understand what is a black hole, etc. All of this, right, in detail. The first thing here is that black holes are cosmic objects. So this is something that we need to understand. These are cosmic objects and that trap everything, including light, due to the immense gravity. So because in the black hole, there is a lot of gravity. And because of this, even if the light is going, that also is trapped inside this particular black hole itself. Okay. They are visible indirectly through effects on nearby objects, such as emitting X-rays when matter falls on them. A Milky Way contains around 1,000 black holes with Psychis or sinus X1 being one of the most well-known. So this is one of the most well-known. This is what you have to understand. In the Milky Way, there are around thousands of black holes accompanying by X-ray emissions. If you do a lot of research, we understand there are more than thousands of black holes that are there in the Milky Way galaxy. And out of that, the most known is this sinus X1, which is a very known black hole. Okay, now we'll understand a little bit about what is this particular giant space that we have, or Gaia space that we have, or spacecraft that we have. Gaia's telescope and its discoveries. The European Space Agency Gaia telescope has been monitoring stars since 2013. So here you can see that European Space Agency is looking at these particular galaxies since 2013. Okay, it has detected black holes by observing stars orbiting empty space, revealing hidden mass objects. So if a star are there, and these stars will go around these particular black holes, and they have been observing this. So scientists using Gaia data will, with ground-based telescope observation, is estimated the mass objects of these. So now what is this Gaia telescope? We'll understand a little about this. Okay. So this is nothing but it was launched in December 19th in 2013 by European Space Agency. It's ESA or ESA, that is European Space Agency. And what was the major aim of this? It was to map the Milky Way and unpredictable precisions. And the position is L2. We all know there are Lagrange's points, right? If you remember in one of the lectures in the last month, I have discussed what is a Lagrange's points when we were discussing Aditya L1 mission. It's called L1 because the position of that is an L1. And here, this particular Gaia telescope is in L2 position. So hence the Lagrange point 2, which is 1.5 million kilometers away from the Earth. Okay, the achievement is that it has been looking or measuring the position for around 1.8 billion stars, right? And scientific impact, it has helped studying stellar evolution. It has helped us, this mission will also continue till 2025, the one which we have right now. Now, the first two black holes, that is Gaia BH1 and BH2. Gaia BH1 was identified in 2022 and it is located 1,560 kilometers light years away from the Earth. The black hole is about 9 times the sun's mass. If you consider a black hole to be 9 times than that of the sun's mass. Okay. And the other one that was detected was in 2023, has a similar mass and was found in tracking a rapid moving star. So discovery of Gaia BH3. Now the one we have right now, we are discussing about the third one. Okay. And this was discovered in 2023 and it's the largest known stellar mass black hole in the Milky Way. Okay. It masses around 33 times than sun's mass. Right. So, and what we have to understand here is that and makes significantly larger than the one which we have right now, that is Cygnus X1. A black hole is located 200,000 light years away from the constellation Aquila. Unlike others, Gaia HB3 is not pulling the material or emitting X-rays, indicating a lack of surrounding mass. So around this particular H3, we do not have that much amount of mass, so hence it's not emitting any X-rays or not taking anything inside. Okay, so this is something that we need to understand. What is the significance of this particular Gaia? So these are the things that we have to understand, that in June 13, 2022 and 22 here, these are the things that we have seen. Okay, how far is this away? And yes, we have also seen about this 22. We have another BH2, which was in earlys of 23. Okay, here you can see the present one which we have, right? It is actually 33 times of the solar mass, which is easily surpassing this as well. Okay, and in the sky, it is located around 2000 light years away from the constellation Aquila and appears as a passive black hole because it's not actively pulling materials from the surrounding. Maybe surrounding there are no much materials present, that is why it's not pulling out anything. The scientists have interpreted that it means that lack of significant supply of matter in its neighbor. It does not have associated X-ray emission either. Okay, so this is the current black hole that we have. Okay, the discovery provides opportunity to study massive stellar black hole within our galaxy. The detection of similar black holes through gravitational waves, previously only possible in a very distant galaxies. Now, what we have to understand here is that, okay, Gaia BH3 is an important astronomical discovery helping scientists understand the formation and evolution of black hole. Further observations will provide deeper insights for us to understand this particular thing. Now, black holes are classes were revealed in 2015 when the LIGO and WIGRO experiments detected gravitational waves emitted by pair of black hole merging. Each possess 30 solar masses and will be located 1 to 2 billion light years away from the Earth. Okay, so these are some other important things that they have told. But yes, understanding these black holes are going to play a very important role. The reason is because they will help us understand basically what exactly is there in the atmosphere, I mean in the universe, and how it can help us. Now, what is exactly a black hole? So let us understand that here. So here you can see here. So that's not here in this slide. Okay, if a light emitting star orbit a black hole, it will appear from the distance to be orbiting around a empty. So if this is a black hole, so in this particular picture, you will be able to see this is your black hole and the stars are orbiting around it. Okay, so this is how a star is orbiting around a black hole. This is point number one that we need to understand here. Okay, Gaia projects the star orbiting on the plane of a sky. Ground-based telescope meanwhile tracks how the light from the star is shifted by Doppler effect and reveals the motion in a straight line, which is perpendicular to the plane of the sky. Putting these observations together, the astronomers can determine the orientation of the star orbit in the space, and based on this estimate is the mass. So taking all these things, they are going to put it together. Okay, so what exactly is a black hole? A star death may has a violent supernova explosion and more Posic collapse. Most supernova explosions leave behind neutron stars rather than black holes. See, black hole is a part of what a star evolution. So if you see when you're studying space technology, you will study about a star, how a star is born and how a star is dying. Sun is also a star, and obviously over a period of time sun will also come into a red giant stage and it will get collapsed further, but that's going to take a lot of time. Okay, it's not that like human beings it will take 100 years or something like that. It will take millions of years for a sun to complete its life cycle. At the end, some of the stars become a neutrino star, okay, and some of them become a black hole. But neutrino star can have more than have no more than about 3 solar masses. So if a neutrino star is there, they are not that much big enough and the mass is very, very less. But when it's a black hole, if the mass is very big, there's a consequence that it can get converted into a black hole. If Gaia and Kepler's third law together reveals the luminosity star orbiting dark objects whose mass exceeds this threshold, it must be a black hole. So there are certain things like especially Gaia and Kepler's third law, both of them, if you put them together, and if this particular threshold is being crossed, that is when that particular star can become a black hole, is what is being mentioned over here, right? So this is all about the black hole that we have. And the next important thing that we have is why the tax cuts are not one-way gambling. Okay, we'll see what is this exactly. In the world where expenditure by the government is directly linked to the tax revenue, any shortfall on the tax side will show up on the expenditure side as well. Despite the fall of 8% of efficient tax rate, the budget has estimated direct tax collection to go on up to 14%. So even after we are not collecting that much tax, and how is this tax collection up to 14%? We are not understanding it. We'll see that. The news discusses the implication of current income tax cuts in Indian Union budget. It discusses both optimistic and other scenarios of tax revenue and government expenditure based on these cuts. So let us see the overview of this particular tax cut, what exactly is going to happen. Okay. Now, in recent tax cuts in union budget are described as one of the biggest tax reductions in the middle class. So especially we are helping the middle class. We all know, however, near the middle class, and we are basically focusing on those people who are middle class, etc. However, only small percentage of the population, that is 2 to 3% directly benefit, as a middle class in India are not entirely middle class in the spectrum. So we need to understand that not everybody, only 2 to 3% of the population is going to get benefit out of this. Nonetheless, it is indeed a significant cut in the tax rates for every class of a taxpayer. Anyways, for individual earning between 7 lakhs to 12 lakhs, the tax rebate has been extended, which was earlier applicable only for those who are earning below 7 lakhs. The exemption limit for these who are earning more than 12 lakhs has also increased from 3 lakhs to 4 lakhs. Additionally, the other tax slabs or marginal tax slabs have been adjusted, benefiting everyone earning more than 7 lakhs. The finance minister has noted that these cuts will result in 1 lakh crore fall. So anyways, we have to understand that will not go into the detail of understanding this. For now, we have to understand that there's a tax cut that has been there. Okay. But and over a period of time, what is the finance ministry is also telling us is that we will have around 1 lakh crore tax that will not be collected because of this particular tax cut. This is 8% of the direct income tax collected. Okay. In this particular year. Now, what we have to understand here is implications of tax cut on economic activities. How are this going to impact our economy? So first thing that we need to understand is the budget aims to twofold. Distribution or redistribution of income through tax charges and influencing economic activities via expenditure diseases. See, basically why this tax is being collected, I'll tell you. So that there is a social welfare. The person who is able to earn more money, we collect tax from them. And the person who is not able to earn any money, we will try to do some kind of schemes and all this money is given to them. Okay, so this is kind of a redistribution of income. So budget is an exercise of both redistribution of income through different variations in tax rates and affecting the level of income activities through expenditure decisions as well. So basically, it is a two thing. That is, we are trying to redistribute the income also, and we are also trying to, see how much expenditure we can do. Right. So this is what it is trying to do. The government expects direct tax collection to increase by 14%, even with 8% reduction in effective tax rates. So here we need to understand that the government is saying that the the direct tax is going to increase up to 14%. So here you can see, despite 8% of effective tax as a result of this policy, the budget has estimated direct tax collection to go up to 14%. See, the logic is not falling correct. Please understand this. The reason is because what's happening here is they say that 8% of the tax will not be collected because the tax slab has been increased, and still the government is saying that there will be more 14% more, or 14% of tax will be collected directly. This confusion, we'll understand why, right? Achieving this requires 24% rise in the income, which would be more than double the projected. That is 10.1% growth of nominal GDP. This presents two impossible scenarios, or these presents two possible scenarios. So hence we have to understand that if we want to increase it up to 14%, we have to make sure that the employment is also increasing. If there are more employment, and that is when the tax will also get more. So now this can happen in two scenarios. What are the two scenarios? We'll see. What are the optimistic scenarios? The first one is the optimistic scenario. Okay, a higher tax exemption limits lead to significant rise in people's earning more than 12 lakh, or existing taxpayers see the significant rise in the income known as high tax buoyancy. The economy may experience growth. See, first thing here is that people who are getting more than person who is getting only 12 lakh right now, because they have to not pay tax, maybe their tax will get increased. This is one point. Another thing is that they will be able to, have, if this means that further concentration of the income in the hands is of upper middle class. This may further adjust the K-shaped growth and the country has witnessed since pandemic. So if it's firmer, this may reflect some upward mobility at a upper end of the income spectrum as well. So this scenario, the income concentration is in the upper class, could increase the contribution of K-shaped recovery seen after the pandemic. If this upward mobility in income, it could indicate broader economic growth at upper end of income spectrum. So the first thing is that what we have to understand here is that if tax exemption limits leads to significant rise in the people earning, so this tax exemption may affect the people to earn more than 12 lakhs. Significant rise in earning more than 12 lakhs. Or if the existing taxpayers see a significant rise in income, so whoever are paying right now, if they are able to see more amount of increase in their pay, that is also how our income will get increased. This is point number one. Another scenario that we have here, okay, which is the worst case scenario. Now we will see that if tax balance does not work as expected, the burden will likely to fall on the poorer sections of the population. So automatically what is going to happen is, if this does not happen, then what is going to happen is that it will have a disadvantage for the poor people in the country. How? If since government spending is tied to the tax revenue, any shortfall in the tax collection would result in cut in the public expenditure automatically. Because if a person, I mean, if the government is not able to get that much money from the tax, how are they going to do welfare programs? It's going to affect the people, poor people, in higher way, because they will not do any kind of, what you mean to say, public expenditure or something like that. And because of this, automatically the poor people will be affected. Since government spending is tied to the tax, yeah, the government of fiscal policy may become a pro-cyclic, which means that the government will spend less during the slowdown and more during the economic boom, which goes against the usual counter-cycle approach. With the fiscal responsibility, that is FRBM, Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act in place, the government has to adhere to the strict deficit targets limiting its spending. So here we need to understand that the FRBM that we have, they have to make sure that there is a strict rules and regulations that they need to adhere to, and they need to basically fix to whatever limits that they have. They cannot cross that particular limit. Now the risk of the fiscal contractions that we have. See, the finance ministry targets to reduce the deficit further to 4.4%, raises concerns, as provides previous cuts in expenditure have been subgrowth. With the growth slowing, the economy needs external or from the external corporate investments also. So if we are not growing much, we will start taking money from the external source, and that is also going to have burden on the economy. The government is counting on corporate investments and growth, but the economic survey of 2025 lacks optimistic and global demand. So here you can see the survey is saying that much growth is not there. But the government is depending on this particular growth. The government is hoping that income tax cut will boost consumption demand, leading to increased investment, but this strategy is risky. So again, I'll tell you something. The government feels that if we are not taking much tax from the people will start investing, or they'll start spending that money. What if the people are not able to spend that money, or if they decide not to spend that money? This particular thing that they're discussing or they're expecting may be a little risky, is what we have to understand. Now, in the end, what we have to understand here is that the tax cut in the union budget are significant steps, but their effectiveness depends upon whether the expected raise in the income and tax collection materializes. The government is taking a risk on by relying heavy on income tax cut as a major tool for economic recovery, but it could lead to growth or worsen inequalities if these things do not go as planned. So whatever they are planning, if that does not happen, trust me, it's going to be a backfire. Because what is government expecting us? Government is expecting all the middle class to spend more money because they are not collecting taxes. But what if we do not spend more money? It is going to backfire government. So this is something that we need to understand, that there's a worst case scenario and there's a good case scenario as well, right? So this is all for today. We have discussed two important articles here. I will see you guys in tomorrow's lecture, right? With the next current affairs. If you have any suggestions, please put it on the comment section. Thank you so much. I hope everybody liked the class.